Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rise of the Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Brownie.
Oh, man, guys. Podcast Live 2, Episode 61, if this is your first time tuning in.
Oh, we already have a message on chat. Gwen says live ROTP is the best.
Oh, that seems to be... people love us live, I guess.
I think live is fun because we get to interact with people and it's cool. It's cool.
So this week, each week we keep upping the ante a little bit more.
Right?
This week we're trying to go live at two places.
Two places.
What? We're live on Facebook, Rise of the Podcast page, and we're also live on our YouTube channel. So It's kind of fun. We get to get questions and interactions from both places.
I was gonna say I feel like I should be monitoring like I did last week.
Well, Chris is gonna have the chat up for us.
We have chat overlay. We have Kara's close up. Boom.
Yep, Kara has a close up now. We don't have to change the camera angle,
Right?
break everything.
That was quite a thing.
Ridiculous.
So
It was a thing.
Gwen says the chat looks dope. Yeah, she sent me a message when we did our test.
Stream,
and it was just some weird Courier new, just impossible to read thing.
So it
looks really nice.
I want to start off by saying that we have it's covered up by the chat, but that's okay. We have our first actual listener email that was not sent by someone that we know, an actual fan on Rise of the Podcast Facebook page. And I kept my word. The email is posted, and it will stay here for the foreseeable future. We're going to frame it. We're going to actually dress up the email a little bit more, but I had to stick to my promise, and we printed it out, and there it is.
What's wrong with what I did?
Well, no, you did a good job, but now we got to...
We made a promise saying that we were going to put it in a golden frame.
Who needs a YouTube play button when you have just,
Listener mail.
Listener mail.
Right?
Instead of a gold button,
You said listener mail, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, speaking of listener mail, if you want to reach out to us, you can get a hold of us at contact at Rise of the Podcast, which is also right there on the screen, and we will add your email to the wall, but also talk about it and write back. And
Pretty soon we're gonna have to take down the R2 mural and just replace it with listener mail.
I know, right?
Something from Josh. Yeah, David, not you.
I want the email because David was the one who sent us the first email.
Sorry, and David, I didn't put your email up here because I know you.
Yeah,
so
it's an unfair advantage.
Yeah, it's an unfair advantage. You're forced to watch because you're nice. But
Wait, is he watching? Oh yeah, he is. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so Kara, it was just the 4th of July weekend, and you did your first official paid VO. What was that like?
It was for our video.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Tell us about it. What'd you do? Who'd you voice?
I am the Tuscan Raider in our stop motion.
So I want to know if anybody watching, let us know your feedback on the stop motion, because that was Chris and I's first actual attempt at a no-kidding production of a stop motion. And so what's funny, Chris, is we can go back and we can highlight now my first couple attempts, because I have the carnival ride one that I did. Mm-hmm. I have the one that I sent to you that's unlisted. Yes. I have the Luke one where Luke's building his hut.
I like that one a lot.
And
that was the one where you started doing sound effects for it.
Yes, that is the one I started.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? 'Cause
yep.
I remember I was like, oh, you need some swampy type sounds or something. And then you're like, oh, no, it's too much work. And then you called Chris. And Chris said the exact same thing. Yeah. And I'm like, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Kara knows what she's talking about, Jeremy. Don't be lazy is the short answer. David said he just watched it with the girls and they loved it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yay.
That's awesome. So that's the thing. So, Chris, we have plans to do more stop motion.
Yes.
That is in the works. That is a thing that we're going to try to do. We're going to try to shoot a full season of a show.
Will we see more of the Tuscan?
Potentially.
It depends if you can lower your voice enough, Kara.
But in order for us to release it, we know people don't like to wait. Everyone got really mad when they went to Mandalorian and it was released on a weekly basis. And could you imagine waiting more than a week? So we don't want
a month.
We don't want to wait and do that to people.
No.
So, we're gonna for sure do a bunch more episodes and then release it, not all at the same time, but spaced out at least where you don't have to wait a month for each episode.
Right.
So
smart.
Actually, I have a story. So we posted it on Reddit as well.
That's right.
And somebody actually commented on the video saying, if you guys have a YouTube channel, I'll subscribe.
Really?
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I saw that comment on Reddit.
And I was kind of like, oh, man, I wish we had, because the channel exists. And I sent them a link to it. It's like, we don't have anything there yet. or whatever, but here's the podcast channel where we do other Lego stuff or whatever, and I don't think you subbed to either one, but I was like, thank you for the sentiment anyway.
Yeah.
That's cool. So people want to see it. That's a thing.
You got, what, like 270-ish, I think, upvotes
Yeah.
on Reddit
Yeah.
for that video?
Yeah, no, it was, and then it got cross-posted. I cross-posted it to the Star Wars Lego subreddit, and Chris, somebody else we don't know, cross-posted it there as well, and it did better.
I was scrolling through Lego Star Wars subreddit.
Yep.
And I was scrolling, and I was like, oh, here it is right here. And I was like, wait a second, it's not Jeremy's name. I was like, who is this? So I showed it to Jeremy. He's like, oh my gosh, somebody else cross-posted it. And the funny thing is, the other person's cross-post actually got more upvotes than
Than
Jeremy's.
mine. It's the story of my life. That's
That
all
just
there
goes
is
to show
it.
you.
The story of my life.
I think
but
the other person probably had more karma than you. I don't know if that matters.
I don't know how Reddit works.
I don't either. I know that I finally crossed the threshold to actually be able to start a subreddit.
That feels pretty good, huh?
It does, because like now I can actually fully participate on the platform. I've been on Reddit for 4 years, and I finally have enough karma to make a subreddit.
So you should make a Rise of the Podcast subreddit.
I told Jeremy when we started the channel to make one, and he's like, I'll get around to it.
We have an Instagram we
Don't
don't
trust him when he
use.
says that.
We had a Facebook page that was nothing until Bill came along.
Here's the thing, Jeremy. We can just be like, hey, post all your dang Star Wars memes on r/Rise of the Podcast, and then we can just do react videos.
There you go. And
Oh,
then
yeah, that'd be-
take
I
them from
mean-
there, or also just resubmit ones people made.
All right, so it looks like we got people saying Josh says that the stream looks good. David says it looks good on his TV. Annie says it looks good.
Wow.
Gwen said, my cell phone is just fine. Bummer, I guess.
Oh, she's not watching on her TV.
She said, I don't know if it's just me getting lag, but it's pixely and laggy on her
Oh.
computer. Okay, so it's her internet connection isn't doing so great.
Well, yeah, so that means it looks good on. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, on our streaming stuff, we have dropped no frames, so that's definitely Gwen's computer problem.
Whoa, put your sister on blast.
That's how you do. You have to staunchly say no drop frames. It's all. If you're having a problem, it's your fault, not us.
Chris's order of caring when it comes to making content is the technical side has to be perfect first.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters first. Then
Everything
composition
else,
and
yeah.
subject matter and everything else.
So
in there
there's
now.
already something driving me crazy. I think that for the next one, I'm going to change the chat thing because I want it to like fade out
Right.
when people aren't
Oh,
chatting.
so it's
Otherwise,
not
it's kind of up.
constantly there.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's fine
Interesting.
for right now.
Yeah. And you got clean. Yeah, you'd have clean video on the Shogun, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do for sure.
Onto all three. So that's pretty cool. So all right, 4th of July. You got a story for us? We're gonna tell.
Which one?
Well, there was a story that you had, and you were gonna tell us.
The one about the one that I did to you?
Well, okay, you can start with that one. Sure.
All right, this is not 4th of July related,
It's
but
not
it's,
4th of July related. It's hilarious, and I think Jeremy needs to tell it because it's really funny.
you're going to voluntarily let Jeremy tell this story.
Because he tells stories better than I do.
I think that's debatable.
Even James said he was here for you, not for
Okay,
me. But,
fine. Okay, so
but do you want it from my point of
so
view or from?
you just,
I'll
you just
go
have to
from-
give Jeremy the free right to cut you off then, I guess.
yeah, okay, so I'll start from my point of view. So when Jeremy and Chris call each other on a nightly basis, okay? A nightly basis. And they're on the phone for like 45 minutes. And so I'm waiting for Jeremy to go to bed. I'm just kind of waiting. Finally, I'm like, forget it. You know what? I'm going to go to bed. I don't want to be up until like 1 in the morning. So I head up to bed. And this is going to sound weird. My dog has a very comfortable dog bed. And so
I mean, we like to cuddle the dog.
we like to cuddle our dog. He's our child until the real child comes along. Even then, he's still gonna be our child. Anyway, so I am cuddling our dog on his dog bed, and Alexa. We have 2 Alexas, one in the kitchen and one up in our bedroom.
I'm wondering how many Alexas you just triggered right now.
I'm sorry, everybody. Right?
I will say, Josh just interjected saying, Jeremy makes the story very exciting with all the hand movements.
Oh, everybody
See,
my
that's
hand
it.
movements.
Jeremy's like when he's talking, and I'm like.
You just need to do that.
Right?
Just go like this the whole time.
Anyway, Alexa's like right next to my head as I'm cuddling Oliver. And so I'm like, all the lights are on in the lower floor of the house. We don't have a big house, so there's like 2 lights, whatever. And so I know Jeremy's on the phone. I know both lights are on, so I'm like, Alexa, turn off dining room light. Just really quiet.
So, cut to my point of view. I'm on the phone with Chris. We're having a conversation, and Chris and I have this inside joke where we talk about secrets of that I know that he doesn't, that he wants from me. Everything.
Specifically relating to the Air Force and how aliens exist, and he won't tell me anything about them.
Area 51. So I like to just make stuff up or be funny, and it's an inside joke. It's a way to pass time. So I'm talking to Chris about this stuff, and this comes up in our nightly, we got to hit the rounds of these different things, and I brush the light switch. The second I brush the light switch, it goes off. So it was enough to make me wonder, did I shut the light off? Or did it shut itself off? Because I didn't think I put enough pressure on there. So from my point of view, I go, so I turn the light back on. Then the dining room light goes out. And I'm like, okay, I did not touch the dining room light. There is no way that I touched the dining room light. So I walk over the stairs, and my first thought is Kara's just messing with me. So I go and I yell upstairs, Kara, are you messing with the lights? And in the meantime, Chris and I were deep in conversation. I just cut Chris off. I'm like, Chris, hold on. And then
I turned off the lights a couple times and turned them back on a couple times.
Yeah, but I yelled upstairs and you didn't answer.
Yeah.
So I was like, upstairs going, hey, Kara, or I was downstairs going, Kara, what are you doing? What's going on? And she didn't answer. So Chris is on the phone and all he hears is, well, the lights are shutting on and off. Kara, are you okay? No answer from Kara, because she's, being a troll here. And so I'm like, I gotta go. I'll call you back. So I hang up on Chris. So from Chris's point of view, what was your point of view?
Well, so I had the spots reversed in my mind. I thought Jeremy was upstairs and Kara was downstairs. So in my mind, Jeremy was upstairs, and all of a sudden the lights are getting turned off on him. And it's like every slasher movie ever starts with them cutting the power.
Everyone.
Right? And then Jeremy's like, something just happened to the lights. Kara, are you okay? I gotta call you back. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna hear my friends get murdered on the phone.
So Kara finally comes clean after way too long of a time.
Door,
yeah.
He comes upstairs, he opens the door, and there I am laying, cuddling the dog, just smiling like nothing. It was so funny. Jeremy was so terrified. It was the best thing in the world.
Why are you laughing so hard that your eyes are watering? That's what I want to know.
You should have seen me last night telling this story to my parents. Oh my gosh, they were rolling.
For what it's worth, I'm glad you guys didn't get murdered.
Thanks, Chris.
David Letta says, point of view, definitely a constant in the Star Wars.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
So from a certain point of view, Kara, hilarious. Jeremy, slightly concerned. Me,
absolute
My friends
murder
are
was
dead.
going to happen. Certain that a murder was going to happen.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, Kara. So
and
that
then he called Chris back to confirm that, yes, we are in fact alive.
It just made me laugh because Chris thought we were dead. He's like, well, that was it. Podcast is done. He's got no money to be on it. So
on another note for Chris, he's got all this new camera equipment.
Yeah, it's Chris. What would you do if something happened to Kara and I? Would you lay squatters' rights? Be like, sorry, this was purchased as Rise of the Podcast stuff. Well, what are my parents going to do with it? I don't know.
What are my parents going to do with it? Nothing.
I mean, that's a fair point. I'm sure, pragmatically speaking, there's the whole arbitration process, and your debts and liabilities and assets have to get released to whatever, and blah 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 blah. But at the end of it, I would definitely be like, scoop.
Is this? I think we might have got a new message. But is this video work, Chris? As my will and testament, you can have the camera equipment.
Hey, this is Rise of the Podcast, now legally binding. Gwen said Kara got a 2-for-1 troll special.
Yeah, both of us. She went for me, but she got me and Chris.
Yep.
Oh, that's so funny.
Kara 1, Jeremy and Chris 0.
That's about how it usually works.
But there was another question that you were asking Chris's opinion on another story, and then
What was it?
I don't remember. But you were going to give us an input on it, Chris.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember.
That's okay. Well, if you think
we were talking about it, and you were like, I'll save my reaction for the podcast.
Well, in the meantime, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up our Star Wars leaks. So
we're going to do that now?
Yeah, we're going to go to r/Star Wars leaks. I should make an animation for that so I can play it.
Oh, you should. That'd be really cool. I love all of the animation that you have done for us, Chris.
Gwen said, don't forget Kara beat you guys in mini golf.
This is true.
You had to bring that up, huh?
I should have never mentioned that.
Oh, right. All right, so what it looks like, the first most popular Star Wars leaks, that there is a 1313 game demo prototype. So it looks like there is a cool new Star Wars video game that came out, and is gonna come out in the future, and there's some prototype footage.
EA?
I wish there'd be a way for you to like screen grab this, Chris, to talk about what we're doing, but not this week.
Yeah, that'll be next week. We'll add screen grab technology.
What kind of game does it look like?
Kind of like a Fallen Order type video game.
Ooh, I do that. I love Fallen Order.
You know what we could do if we had multiple monitors? We just set up another OBS source and then
Right.
cut to that. But
That'd be perfect.
That'd be super easy.
We just need to spend more money.
Yeah, buy another computer, Jeremy.
So another fun thing is, so last week we talked about that there was exciting Mandalorian news coming out. So it's official. There is a Mandalorian book coming out.
Ooh.
So just announced to discover a new series of books inspired by the Mandalorian. So that's awesome. It's got a picture of the Mando and Baby Yoda on front. And I was reading comments. Somebody posted on the cereal meme post that there's a Baby Yoda cereal coming out.
Yeah.
Actually, I know who it is too. He's a guy who bought my car, my old Mustang, years ago.
Really?
Yeah. And he was actually at GalaxyCon the day before we were there. But he commented that the poor Mando is getting usurped by Baby Yoda
He
in his own
is,
show.
like-
It's called The Mandalorian, but it's
Yeah.
really...
Baby
Well, I
Yoda
mean-
is way more popular.
Yeah, I mean, The Simpsons was supposed to be about Homer and Bart ended up being the star. I mean,
That's true.
Is it, so, I mean, right, I guess.
stuff
right?
like that happens.
Yeah.
Or Family Matters is supposed to be about the Winslows. Urkel took it over.
Yeah, totally. Who ended
So-
up being the voice of Sonic as just a random...
Yeah, Jaleel White.
Yep.
Really?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Urkel was also the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. And
I did not
And
know
like
that.
every
Cartoons.
Right.
animated version
Everyone.
of Sonic the Hedgehog has
Yep.
been Jaleel White.
Yep. Thanks for continuity's sake.
Yeah.
Keep the same guy. All right, so this next one is that just the cinematographer Greg Frazier there's an article where he talks about a world where almost every film will use the Mandalorian's LCD panel technology. So if you're just hopping in and if you've watched The Mandalorian, a lot of that wasn't actually shot on green screen. It was shot on live LED screens. And
Like the most modern version of rear projection technology. We did touch on that a little bit last week.
Didn't they
We
say
did.
all of Kenobi is going to be recorded like that too?
Yeah.
I believe so. And so, yeah, they're just saying that technology is going to be pushing the way moving
Yeah.
forward.
Well, green screen, it's like when there's green screen, you can always kind of tell that it's on a green screen. It just doesn't, it never looks perfect.
Right.
There's always that weird haze around the edge that just, you're like, that's a green screen.
Well, I mean, like, if you've watched all the Marvel movies, those are 99% green screen.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's, like, almost none of
Okay.
the places they were. But what it boils down to, like, when it comes to television, they usually don't have the money
That's
Right.
to
true.
do, like... When it comes to doing good green screen, it's not about pulling the best keys. It's about, can you afford to pay a guy to rotoscope everything in the fucking movie? Oh,
Right.
dang.
Oh!
That was a mistake. Can you pay a guy to rotoscope everything in the movie?
Right.
Because like you're never gonna have a 100% perfectly clean thing, but like that's why there's always 20,000 people listed in the VFX department because they're just rotoscoping everything.
And not to mention earlier when I talked about Chris's like hierarchy of technology importance, whenever we like the Lego stop motion that came out on the 4th, that was shot in front of a green screen, and we had to do trial and error and practice and get everything dialed in to get that green screen perfect. And we learned that things that aren't in the depth of field, if there's not a sharp focus, you get just horrible green screen bleed.
Oh yeah,
Really?
it's
So
terrible.
yeah, so we had to do like all
Yeah,
the
so
extra.
everything that ends up being a background element, you have to shoot in focus, and then put it out of focus yourself afterwards.
Yeah, and throw it in a composite and another layer and build each layer with the little puzzle pieces.
Interesting. Oh, cool.
All right, so this next one, this should be number 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, number 3.
Number 3 of the top 5 r/Star Wars leaks posts of the
for
week.
the past week. So the Clone Wars is a show, right? So they came out with 5 seasons, and then the 6th got kind of canceled halfway through. And so then they did Netflix picked up and did a thing on it, and then of course they went and redid season 7. Well, the rest of season 6 looks like it'll be coming out, or it's been released. Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Stories of Light and Dark. They reveal their chapters. So there's some extra Clone Wars like comic or
Oh, that'd be cool.
chapters being released. So that's awesome.
Yeah, because part of the cancel stuff got turned into some books that ended up becoming
Disciple.
part of season 7 too, didn't it?
Yes.
Dark Disciple was supposed to be a part of Asajj Ventress's line, and before it got canceled.
Okay.
And so the author Christy, I forget her last name, Christy something. She ended up putting it into a book, and the book is excellent. I don't think you've read it yet.
I haven't. You have, though.
It's
Oh, hello from Ryan Seacrest of YouTube.
Yes, right.
so anyway.
Hi, Ryan. It's so funny.
It's a great username.
That is fun. All right, so the next one that I have is she's chaos and craves thrills and danger. Sarah Kuhn talks Dr. Alfra in an audiobook original. So it sounds like the voice actor for the Dr. Afra audiobook, the voice actor, is available on StarWars.com. There's an interview with her, which is pretty cool. And
I feel like the Dr. Afra book was in Star Wars Leaks last week, too.
it was because
Something about it.
it was coming out.
Yeah.
Or at least the audiobook was coming out.
So apparently
now,
that's a really hot thing for Star Wars past couple weeks.
and then we just talked about the not like their Star Wars coming out. There's the placeholder for that novel, for the book that is coming out, is called Sparrow. So that was the number 5. So we know that there's a book coming out. We know that the placeholder title is Sparrow.
Ooh.
Oh, Ashley Wallen says hi from YouTube.
Oh, hi, Ashley.
Hello.
Ryan Seacrest says, what are we talking today? We're talking some Star Wars stuff we just ran down.
Hello.
Some
So
r/Star Wars leaks top stories. That's sort of like the cutting edge of like what could be happening. I do have one more Star Wars thing that I want to get to.
all
Ooh,
right.
All right.
And so Mike D sent this
that's
to
right.
me, and I held it specifically for the podcast. So this is from cosmicbook.news. I don't know how reputable this is, but it says that Disney is resetting the Star Wars and erasing The Last Jedi.
So
What?
I read an article about this, and it's funny that you bring it up. So on the way here, we were talking about like living in the 21st century and living in a world where there's the
Right.
internet like it is. You have to be so careful of news, right? So I think that was a real rumor, but I read an article that it was squashed, that they aren't gonna do that.
Okay.
But that apparently was the word on the street for the they were gonna can the whole sequel trilogy and redo it.
What?
That's probably as an opportunity
so
to make more movies.
basically what the article says is they're going to use the because the Force has the way that they have explained how Palpatine survived is by using this extra dimensional property of the Force to put himself outside of like the timeline where he would have died. And then came back. Like that's what like that poof of smoke is supposed to be when he fell down the elevator shaft or whatever. It was him like manifesting himself back into the Force.
There's a little bit of that in the Rebels TV show.
So what they're saying
Yeah,
is
there
that
is.
what the retcon is going to do is use that multiverse theory and say that what we saw the sequel trilogy was one potential outcome, and then it's going to become Legends, and then they're going to do a new sequel trilogy that has nothing to do with any of it.
What? So, like I said, I read that was canned, but if that was the case, now I've got to... Okay, we have a tradition here. Chris, Kara, and myself, we see the Star Wars movies together on the opening night.
Yeah.
I get tickets. We have to go through the whole thing of the servers crashing. Kara, in the last one... when
Actually went down to the theater in a snowstorm.
to buy the tickets.
Yeah.
Because the website was crashed, but we called and they said you can come down here and reserve them in person.
You can't reserve them over the phone. You can't order tickets over the phone. It has to be online or in person.
Yep.
And every time we do this, the group grows. In Force Awakens, I think I bought 8 tickets, and then The Last Jedi I bought 10, and for the this
The most
last
recent
one,
was 16?
14.
14?
14 tickets. It's crazy.
It's never difficult to find people to take them.
No. As soon as we have somebody fall out, because that's always the case, I have the tickets filled before I
Yeah.
even have somebody fall out.
We have people lined up.
Because this time it was somebody from your work ended up going.
Yeah. Ruby
Yep.
and her boyfriend.
Yep. Ruby is awesome.
Yeah, Ruby's awesome. She's my friend from work. She likes feeding ducks. She feeds ducks so much up in Two Harbors that she sent me a video where she's feeding them, and this mom duck is letting her just scoop up her little ducklings and just feed them and love on them. And I'm like,
At first, when you said she feeds them so much, I thought there's like a warrant out for her.
Oh,
She's not allowed near any duck ponds or anything.
there's a bunch of obese ducks floating around in Two Harbors.
Right.
Ashley says, make sure you get some tickets for us.
Oh, yeah, see,
And then
exactly.
Ryan Seacrest from YouTube says, the bald guy, which is Jeremy,
Yeah.
looks and acts like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory post-marriage and separation from Amy Farrah.
Well, now I'm going to have somebody like draw me an avatar of where it looks like that. So, no, I was going to say, so Ryan, we usually go live on Facebook. We've had this YouTube channel for over a year. and we do a podcast, and we do Lego builds here because we love Star Wars, we love Legos, we love gaming, we love 3D printing. Kara does a cosplay of Ahsoka Tano. If you're not here for Star Wars, that's okay. We also tell these crazy stories, like in the beginning of this episode where Kara trolled me and made Chris think that I was getting murdered. But you asked what we were talking about today, so we just talk about Star Wars, we tell stories.
Nerd pop culture stuff.
Nerd pop culture.
Yeah.
I remember
Technology that I don't understand.
people who come visit us from the live stream, so the reason why I'm just talking to Ryan directly is because he's talking with us, so that's just really fun.
Yes. Ryan says Star Wars is epic.
Oh, there we go. So you're good. You're in the right
Right.
place. But yeah, Kara and I are just two huge nerds, and Chris is like a nerd, but not as to the level of Kara and I.
He's more technologically nerdy, I feel. Like, he's
Chris
not
is
your
like
pop culture nerd, but, you know.
Oh, and if you're wondering where he is, he's like Wilson from Home Improvement.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get to hear his voice.
I'm currently sat behind like 3 cameras, a live switcher, a laptop, a microphone, an audio recorder, and about 6 million other things, making sure that the stream goes well.
You see a nice, clean set right here. That side is just a hot mess.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Hot mess. Go ahead.
So,
If you watch any of our other videos.
when we first set up the studio, we did an entire wall the size of this one, all comic book pages.
Background, yep.
That's all it is. We ripped comic books apart, taped them all up. It probably took me, 4 hours to do the whole thing?
Yeah.
So we did that, and then the guys decided to tear down the center wall between the 2 of our rooms. And they decided to do all the painting, so like if there's any lines between the foam, it's going to be black and everything. And so they took down my comic book wall, and they painted it black. And so then I spent another however long, it was probably
At least 2 hours.
at least 2 hours taping everything back up. Now, nobody thinks Minnesota gets humid, but let me tell you, it does.
It's humid.
Oh,
It is
Right now, I
humid.
mean, it was 80 when we started. It says it's 76 now, but I don't know the humidity right now, but it's humid.
and-
It's never below like 60% humidity, I think.
So we get into the studio today,
Today.
and my entire comic book wall has peeled off, and it is now just that black background because of the humidity. I am so sad.
We've been filming down here for over a year, and it has never come down. And
No.
Like, we've had a piece or 2 fall off.
Yeah, we actually had them fall off during one of our Lego builds.
Yeah, we did.
we have redone it. Chris and I made Kara redo it to pick better subject matter, like more selective on the. So we've already made Kara redo it. And the first thing, Chris, when you walked in today, you're like, "Don't let Kara see the background." There's nothing we can do about it. He was just
Yep.
for dramatic effect.
It's
but-
just so depressing. Total between both times, I spent at least 6 hours on that background, and now we're not going to do it again. So Jeremy talked about just doing like a green screen back there, and we can
Yes,
insert whatever background.
As Kara's
we want.
putting green screen on blast
I
here a little bit
know.
ago.
Well, so Kara, Ryan says the nose ring looks great.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thanks.
yeah, so for those of you who don't know, this is Kara. Hi, Kara. That's Jeremy.
The bald guy who now looks like Sheldon after he's left Amy.
Yep.
I'll
And
never
then-
forget that as long as I'm alive.
They're very unlikely that you'll ever see me on here. When we first started doing this, I didn't even have a microphone. I was literally just running the gear.
Yeah.
And then people would like notice me like laughing at them like making mistakes or saying something funny or whatever. And then eventually I inherited a microphone, so now
Yeah.
I get to participate as well.
If you go back and watch the first podcast, it's just Kara and I.
They are cringe.
They are tough.
Yeah, they're not the best.
We've come a long way in the
Like-
past year.
So in the beginning, I would take a whiteboard and I would write down our subject matter on the whole entire thing, and we would have our podcast completely planned out. And now it's like, meh.
Well, we have general
we talk
topics.
about things, we're gonna
like,
talk
yeah.
about, but it's not like, nope,
not
we're gonna
hype-
talk about this, and this.
Yeah, it's not super regimented.
Right.
I'm still hoping for the day that BRD11 comes back and comments. So one of our first.
Wait, has he not commented in a while?
Not since the Hera doll tutorial that you made. It's been that
Oh
long.
my gosh.
He's coming back. I know it.
Yeah, he's just letting it accumulate.
He's just letting it accumulate.
He does
But
this.
BRD11, I'll never forget. So Ryan, we've built this in a funny video, and this giant Star Destroyer sitting here, and the mistakes that are made during the Lego build are really, really funny. No, don't point at me because they're not all my mistakes.
I made one tiny mistake where I forgot this finishing piece right here.
A
That
mistake
all I
is still
forgot.
a mistake. But it was funny because then BRD11 was like, "Oh, he tried building Legos," and he's like, "I picture you guys yelling at us." So
My voice is like Alan from The Hangover.
oh, there you go. Hey,
Yours?
that's a
There you go,
compliment.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
That's fun. So 4th of July, man. So The Last Jedi, if they were to remake that, that would just completely.
That would make a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, so
would.
for those of you who have come in mid podcast, there was a article saying that Disney is considering taking the sequel trilogy, making it Legends, and basically undoing everything that happened in the last 3 films in terms of canon. So it's interesting to see, like, where do you think like that would lead? So I've come to terms with quote unquote. I'm fine with the sequel trilogy
Yeah.
as is if it stays canon.
Well, right off the top of my head, Carrie Fisher's gone.
Right.
So she would not have an appearance in it, which wouldn't be the same to me.
Right.
Because that was one of the things. I love, my favorite scene of the whole trilogy is probably Han and Chewie walking on the board saying, "We're home." And actually, remember I told you that the article, Chris, that I said it was canceled? Is that scene with the little words over the bottom, and it says, "We're safe." It's because, that's such a good scene seeing those
Yeah.
two come back. I quoted that ship is garbage this weekend.
You did.
It's a classic ship. Yeah.
So over 4th of July, we were at my grandma's cabin, and there was a pontoon parade, and we got to talking about what next year's parade should be.
Oh yeah, they
pontoons
dressed
should
up.
be.
They dressed up all the pontoons.
And so, one of the best ones, in my opinion, somebody just dressed up their pontoon to look like the Flintstones car, and then they all dressed
Nice.
up as the Flintstones.
That was really good.
That was really cool.
That's quality because it's already the shape of the Flintstones.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we talked about it, and next year we're thinking about maybe doing the Millennium Falcon.
Turning the pontoon into
Yeah.
the Millennium
Do you
Falcon.
guys have a pontoon?
We do. My grandma has a pontoon.
Oh, okay.
I mean, let me tell you, that girl's old, but she still floats.
Dang, Kara's not pulling any punches. If your grandma's watching, she's real upset. Are you trying to say your grandma's old or the pontoon's old?
Pontoon's old.
I thought you were talking about
Grandma!
Let me tell you, that grandma's old.
I mean, most grandmas are, but anyway, just say the pontoon is old.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, my grandma's had that since before I was born. I mean,
she may not look like it, but she's got it where it counts.
exactly. She
The
still
pontoon
runs.
being the Millennium Falcon.
Anyway, so yeah, Jeremy joked that
Jarrett's wondering where Baby Yoda is.
Oh, Jarrett! Oh man.
I
Okay.
commented about that.
When we went to the cabin, we had to put Oliver, our dog, our golden retriever,
My sweet boy.
in the back, and we didn't want anything to happen to Baby Yoda. So he went in a place of pride in our home just for the weekend, but we left later than we wanted to, and so when we rushed back down here, I did my normal phone call that Kara gets mad about with Chris. What do we need? What do I need?
Yep.
And Chris said, "Oh, you need these cables, you need this diagram.
There's always a list.
Make sure we print off the email, because this is something we said we were going to do."
Yeah, I forgot to be like,
Baby
bring that
Yoda.
aircraft aluminum.
Baby Yoda is my next week's email. Baby Yoda will be in that seat,
Yes.
for sure.
So for those of you who are wondering what he's talking about,
Yes, we have an email. You can write us, contact at riseofthepodcast.com. Send us mail and we will talk about it. So if you can't engage with us live and you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, we will go through your mail and we will read it.
So
Yeah.
have you gotten any emails since last week?
This is the last one that we have received.
Okay, so it was during our last
Yeah.
podcast.
So if you have questions about Star Wars lore, if you want our opinions on current theories, if you want to challenge us to some sort of quiz where we'll fail dramatically,
Well,
we'll
on
do
our-
math problems, whatever you want us to do.
On our anniversary podcast, we had a bunch of people asking us, like, what was our favorite movies? What's our watch order? What was that? Was fun.
Yeah.
Asking us general knowledge about Star Wars and trivia as such.
Jared says next week.
Next week, Baby Yoda will be there.
right here with
And
us.
Ryan says do or do not. There is no try.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. Jarrett got us, a good friend got us a Baby Yoda.
So John Klington.
That is a new viewer.
I apologize for butchering your name. Why did I give myself this job of reading these out?
Klingen? I would assume
John,
it's Klingen.
hello. Thank you
Right.
for joining us.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we is he on Facebook or YouTube?
Facebook.
He's on Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook. So yeah, I wonder if we share a lot of memes on Facebook. A lot. We have Bill over there that does that. That's so much fun.
So, if anybody has any questions or wants to know anything or wants to just like say something hilarious, let us know.
Yeah. So far, I've been called Sheldon, and
I totally see it.
yeah. Well, when I met Kara,
the graphic tees.
Oh,
the
yeah.
slender build.
yeah,
It's all there.
I had to switch graphic tees because I couldn't pick out my whole outfit.
I did
it
have
matched.
to take his undershirt away from him today.
She did. It was really funny. But when Kara and I had met, she hadn't watched Big Bang Theory yet.
I had not.
So that was a fun thing that we got to go through and watch together. And it was one of those shows that was like, it was a bummer to see it end. It had gone on a long time, but it was still always sad when you've got that withdrawal. So
Yeah. Whenever we come to the end of a show, Jeremy always draws out those last couple episodes. Like, we'll be 3 episodes from the end, and Jeremy's like, oh, we should watch this other show. And I'm like,
I quit. I jumped ship because I don't want it to end.
Yep. No, I totally get that. Ashley said she thought you were going to say that Oliver ate Baby Yoda.
oh my
Oh, no.
gosh.
Oh, no.
I would be devastated.
That
if
is why I
Oliver
said
ate Yoda.
place of pride because that's.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like shoved in the glove box.
Yeah, no, that's somewhere. What Oliver can't get is we put him somewhere safe.
Right.
So,
He's safe and sound in this little bassinet.
right.
Cute little Baby Yoda.
Ryan says, "Can we move that cup of juice next to Sheldon? I think you're done with it.
Oh, which one?
Your beverage from
This one? We want to put it where?
just
Out of frame.
Yeah.
Out of frame.
Jeremy,
go.
That power.
shame on you.
You're making positive change, Ryan. Thank you.
Chris is the one who normally yells at me for that.
I yelled at him for everything.
John says, "What kind of car does Yoda drive?"
Oh, Yoda would drive.
This is
I saw the
speculation.
answer, so I can't answer.
Oh no, a Toyota.
Yep.
You got it.
It took me a second. I was thinking make, model. I'm like, oh, Yoda would like a classic 1967 Chevelle.
No.
He
Yoda
would
would
not
like
drive
a
a Chevelle.
Well,
No,
it's some of
okay.
the top down. I
Let's-
don't know.
I think
Guys-
he'd drive like a bug.
I was gonna say, think
Oh.
about his size. He would drive a smart car.
Well,
Also, like given his
convertible
age, I think he would go with like a classic, like a '60s Beetle.
I agree. That's yeah. There you go.
But Toyota is the.
That's yeah.
If it wouldn't start, and the episode, Kara hates how cantankerous he is when he's banging with his stick on R2D2. Whenever it won't start, he's like, it's mine. So funny.
Ryan says, "Shame on you, Jeremy. You shouldn't take things for granted."
Oh, right.
Ashley says he would definitely drive a bug.
You're on
Jared
God,
says
you'd
he'd be
happy.
so upset if Baby Yoda died. Also, we should talk about Game of Thrones.
Ooh, Game of Thrones.
Okay, let's not talk about the final season.
So I've seen 8 minutes of Game of Thrones.
So,
Okay.
one of the podcasts that I listened to, couldn't recommend it more. It was a Rooster Teeth podcast, and I started following them because of Red versus Blue way back in the day.
We listened to a lot of them on the way to California.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we went through several
Yeah.
episodes.
But Game
They're
of
so
Thrones.
good.
So I started when season 2 was available, and up until watching Game of Thrones, Sean Bean, besides Lord of the Rings, Sean Bean had always been a villain that died. And watching him play Ned Stark, season
He's
one
good
of
at dying.
season 1 of that show is absolutely fantastic.
Game
One
of
of the
Thrones.
best ever. It's so
Yeah.
good. You've got young John, and it's crazy to go back and see how
I
young
know.
everyone was.
Arya just looks like this tiny little,
Ryan is obsessed with you being Sheldon. We do not live in Pasadena.
No, we don't. Yeah, that's the only. I don't. I probably like airplanes as much as Sheldon likes
Trains.
Trains.
I don't
But
think anybody
besides
likes
that-
anything as much as Sheldon likes trains.
So really quick, sidetrack off of.
But I will
Game of
keep talking
Thrones.
about Game of Thrones.
We just watched a new show that Sheldon might actually have liked because it's all about a girl on a train.
Oh yeah. Okay, so on our radar right now, Chris and Keith. We've watched Avatar, the cartoon,
Excellent. Oh, I saw a funny meme about that.
and Gravity
okay.
Falls, and Amphibia. And so I was having withdrawals, and Chris, there's one you might like. It's called Infinity Train, and it was a short season
Okay.
on Cartoon Network, and it's really good. Anyways, it's about a girl who wants to go to a video game school. Her parents are divorced, and she runs away, and then she gets on this train that never ends, and each train car is a puzzle. Anyways,
Oh, interesting.
that was a
really
tangent
good.
from Sheldon to trains to...
Sorry, trains. Go ahead, continue.
So get back to Game of Thrones. So you have read one of the books? Have you not read any of the books?
I got through probably a third of. Is it Of Ice and Fire? A Song of Ice and Fire? Is that
first
the first book?
Well, no, Game of Thrones is the first book.
Game of Thrones
it's a
is the
series
first
of
book?
A Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Game of Thrones is the first book. A Song of Ice and Fire is the entirety of it.
Yep, it's just HBO
Okay,
launched
so
it.
anyway, I got through about a third of the first book, and it is every single chapter is written about a different character, and so you have to really be focused and really know who everybody is. But it's just so hard because like they introduce like 20 new characters in the first 20 chapters, and then they go back to somebody else, and you're like, wait, who are you again?
Right.
So I wasn't able to get through.
The TV show did an excellent job.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was anything specific you wanted to talk about, but season 4 was amazing. That was when we got introduced to Pedro Pascal, who played the Mandalorian. But his role, he's from Dorne, that role, again, the fight between him and the Mountain, man, I mean, spoiler alert, it's way old, so it's
I was
fine.
going to say, there's no spoilers here.
He
Sorry,
also
Chris.
played in Narcos, which is a really good show.
I need to watch that still.
It's really, really good. And so I just... The acting and then Emilia Clarke. A lot of Game of Thrones characters are actually in Star Wars.
Yeah, they got their jump into Hollywood from Game of Thrones.
Right. Yeah, and so you've got Pedro Pascal was the Mandalorian, but you also have Emilia Clarke, who was Daenerys and played Kiera in Solo, which I
And,
love that movie.
Kit Harington, he's been in a few things since Game of Thrones.
Kit Harington was a voice in How to Train Your Dragon in one of them.
Yeah.
I think was he
yes,
toothless?
the newest one.
Is he the newest one?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a character.
Yeah, he's
in
a character
the newest one.
How to Train
But there's
Your
also been a couple other ones. Some other couple characters that were in The Mandalorian. The IT crowd guy was in the episode of The Mandalorian, but the alien guy. You don't like the IT crowd, so.
Dragon. I am not a fan of the IT
it's such
crowd.
a good show.
It's just, it's so weird. I'm sorry. I'm offending people.
So Ryan has a couple of messages that came through. He asked, "Where's Keith?" Keith is a frequent guest of the show. Currently, I think he is visiting family for the holiday weekend.
So yeah, that's the goal. That chair right there is for more guests. That is a goal. It is hard
Guests
to.
get to sit next to me.
Yes.
It's unfortunate, but they deal with it.
Would you rather have them sit next to Jeremy?
No, they can sit next to me.
Oh snap! We got some listener mail.
What?
Yep. I'm gonna read.
Oh, my
I'll read it.
goodness.
And what else you got, Chris?
Oh my goodness! No, so there's a British show called The IT Crowd, and he played Morris Moss, and I can never remember the name of the actor. That he had asked whether or not it was the IT guy from Silicon Valley, which it is not.
Okay.
And then he also commented, "Monsters are dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies."
Oh yeah. Right. Okay. So we got listener mail too. So boom, we got listener mail. This one's from Gwen from Stuff Lab, and I wanted to do a shout out for Keith too. For Keith, on Amazon Prime, you can check out a movie that Keith made, filmed right here in the Northland of Minnesota, where we're at, all over Duluth. Gravedigger Dave's Halfway House is on Amazon Prime. You can watch it if you have it.
Yep.
So this is an awesome question that I love to talk about. Are holocron crystals and lightsaber crystals the same? If so, could an informational kyber crystal from a holocron be used in a lightsaber, or vice versa? According to Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge, yes, they are the same kyber crystal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun is if you go to Savi's workshop, which we did last July. Man, was that a cool experience. I know you were loved it too, Chris.
It was awesome.
Being there.
Meluran juice.
You get to pick. They don't have that at Disney World.
No,
funny
they
enough.
don't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy my own ingredients off of Amazon, and I'm going to mix my own Meluran juice. Because it's delicious.
It is delicious. But anyway, so the crystals that you
And
buy.
even more of that hot chicken.
Yeah. Clyde's Hot Chicken.
Yeah,
Clyde's Hot Chicken, right?
I believe so.
We should just go back there, even though Star Wars Celebration is canceled, and still go back there and just have Clyde's Hot Chicken.
We'll fly out, hot chicken, Star Wars.
Yep.
Right? Just one day.
Yep.
Hit them all. And I will bring down a couple growlers and have them fill it with Meluran juice.
If you can get in, Disneyland is still changing their opening. But
Yeah.
So yes, the kyber crystals that you get for your saber can be put into a holocron that you can, of course, spend real money on. I still want to do a supercut, Chris, of all my credit card going cha-ching, cha-ching,
I
cha-ching,
have all that
cha-ching,
footage.
cha-ching.
So Ryan, to clarify, Keith Hopkins of Hexagon Motion Pictures made a film called Gravedigger Dave's Halfway House. And it's a combination of real ghost stories and fictional ghost stories presented in an anthology style in the film. And it was all filmed in northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. It's really cool.
Chris, did he come on for podcast 14?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I think it was 16, maybe.
16? Keith is on, and then he came back on when I was gone. Did he sit in my chair?
Yes, I think. Yeah, because there would have been no point in.
Yeah, he did sit in your chair.
Yeah.
So Keith got to sit here.
He
The
got to
only
sit in the
person, Rise of the Podcast Trivia, who's got to sit in my chair.
Jeremy has tried to make me give up my couch seat because the couch is oh so comfortable compared to his chair.
That couch is way more comfortable than this chair, for the record.
What can I say? What can
I
I say?
could really
I think
annoy you,
both of you are in a
Kristen.
little bit better situation than my chair.
I could trade this in for a rocker. Then I would just annoy you.
You would never be in focus.
Yeah, this is my spot. Oh,
Can you
yeah,
imagine?
right. Who in
Blurry,
focus? Out of
in
focus.
focus.
Yeah,
Blurry.
in focus.
What are we doing?
We're crazy.
I'm sorry, this is who we are. We're nutcases, that's all I have to say. I'm still trying to think of that dumb story that...
But it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
It's fine. It'll come to you.
Now, Jeremy, what are you excited for in 6 days?
Oh, well, so Amphibia Season 2 is coming out. It's a kid's show, but
It's so relaxing.
the reason we started doing the stop motion is animation is really fascinating, and Kara can draw. I can make Legos pose, so that's the closest I can get to being able to animate.
Hey, I was right. Keith was episode 16.
Oh.
Wow, who called it out for us?
Gwen.
Oh,
Nice,
nice.
Gwen.
Thanks, Gwen. That was really loud. I apologize. I just
Yeah,
need
it's
some
like-
water because it's hot here and humid. We have a little room air conditioner in the hallway that blows a little bit of cold air in here. But over the course of the winter, I've of course lost the little plug for the condensation catch. So I have a drip tray, and the thing fills up with water in like 20 minutes. So.
So you were talking about Amphibia.
Oh, so Amphibia, I love animation. That's why I loved Avatar, Gravity Falls. Amphibia, it looks very similar to Gravity Falls. There is actually a crossover, Chris, somebody did, of Hop Pop with the cranky old frog with
Grunkle
Grunkle
Stan.
Stan, which was a really cool photo. I love to see those crossovers.
Nice.
But Amphibia Season 2 is airing on the Disney Channel
Is it
next
Disney
Saturday.
Channel for sure?
Yeah, yep, it is.
So is that going to be one? Is the whole season going to come out, or is it just one episode?
It'll be an episode a week. but
Oh, Disney!
it's even worse than that. I don't think it's going to be on Disney Plus.
Oh, dang!
Because it's when it was like promoted or produced, it was for the Disney Channel, not for Disney Plus.
So Ryan
know
wants to
we're
know
buying.
where we are currently. We're in Minnesota, just outside of Duluth.
Yep, we are just outside of Duluth. That's where the studio is. That's where I was born and raised, more or less, Duluth,
Yep.
Minnesota. We're right on the tip of Lake Superior. So if you hop on a map, boom, you drop a pin on the tip of Lake Superior. We have Canal Park.
You find
and
Wisconsin where it meets Duluth, and we're at the tip of Lake Superior right there.
Yeah.
we have some cool landmark features and lift bridge that we're
We're
super known
consistently
for.
ranked among the best outdoor towns in the country.
We have 1 million bike lanes.
Man, now you got me all mad about Finger Tower being closed down now for freaking bike lanes.
I know.
Wait, what?
You can't drive. I think it's like 2 blocks away from Anger. Like all the roads around it got closed off at the beginning of the quarantine, so people had a place to go and like bike. And it's like as if we didn't have 5,000 miles of bike path
lane.
in Duluth already. Now it's like you're just gonna be. It's like I don't want to walk like an extra 3/4 of a mile just to get in an Anger Tower.
Seriously?
So hey, I was gonna say if I'm like Sheldon, is this Sheldon with a Minnesotan accent? Because I do say like we say it. This is completely natural. I'm not goosing it. Minnesota. That's how I
You
say
just
it.
stress the O.
We stress the O. So this is what Sheldon would sound like, I guess, with a Minnesota accent. I don't know.
I don't even know how Minnesota would be pronounced without a long O.
I don't either. People
Like
try
how
to
do you
say
shorten
it.
that? Minnesota.
We just really,
Minnesota.
we really,
Minnesota.
I just say it faster.
we just really stress the O. Like
But-
when you say boat. Or boot.
Minnesota.
Well, I
Right.
wear boots, and we like to get into boats.
Jeremy does not live with his mother. He lives with Kara in their home. They're married.
We're married.
Well, no, he just left. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry.
You got married, don't tell me, July 26th,
Yep.
2015.
Yes,
that's
so this
correct.
is
Boom.
5 years in just a few weeks.
Oh, man, I've never been sweatier in a day of my life than during their
it was
wedding.
hot.
It was
so
hot.
The hottest. And Jeremy even went out of his way to get us, like, really thin, cotton, breathable tuxedos.
Yep.
And I told them all, I was like, when you guys are lined up, y'all can take off your jackets. I don't care. Like,
It was hot
be
that
cool.
day.
But,
And
like,
his sun was like over the beaming down on
Yeah.
the building. We were directly in the rays.
so as I'm walking down the sidewalk to walk up the stairs to the balcony we got married on, I'm walking down and I look over where everybody should be sitting. And there's nobody there. I was like, okay, we had like 200 people RSVP, yes. And there are 0 people in the chairs. And then I kind of looked past that a little bit. Everybody had gotten up out of their chairs and had sat on like this brick wall.
Cats love sunbeams. Wedding
Humans
guests
don't know.
like them. Everyone was dodging that like it was lava. Like
Yeah,
the floor
it was a
lava.
laser beam from space.
As
trying
the
to kill
sun's
us.
moving, everyone's just shuffling out to have a little bit more room.
I don't remember
Ashley
being
says
hot,
it was
but
so hot at your wedding.
It was.
It was.
For Duluth, it was really hot. It was what, like 92 degrees,
Yeah,
and the humidity was through
It
the
was
roof.
off the charts.
Yeah.
You could not cool down.
No,
And then
it was
because we got married, it
ridiculous.
was an old building. The reception area had like the
No
worst
AC,
AC.
yeah.
Yeah, we got Glen Sheen.
Oh, it's
old
down below
historical
ground
building.
level, so that's the cold you get.
Yeah, pretty
Right.
much.
Whatever's
We had
radiating
fans
from
set
the-
up and stuff, didn't we?
Yeah, wasn't good enough.
I will say, amazing potatoes.
Oh, those were
Oh
so
my
good.
gosh.
People,
Yes.
the caterer, people say they don't remember your wedding, but they will remember the food.
And
and
we
that
had
is
good
true.
freaking food.
That is true.
And it was supposed to be like 1 plate per person. I ended up getting 2 plates of the entree and 3 potatoes.
well,
That's
we had
'cause
people that didn't
people-
show up.
And I was like right where they were like coming out. I was
Right.
like in like line of sight.
You're
I was
like-
like right here.
We paid for
Wait
the
up.
plates. Might as well
Right?
make sure they're
I'm not gonna let those go to waste. You kidding me? It was like $20 a plate.
right.
Ryan says, "You said nerds. You the nerdy guys who are working for Google or Apple."
Apple,
My cousin's husband worked for Google.
Google, and then now
Facebook.
Facebook, and we know people.
Jeremy's dad has just arrived.
If you bring them on,
I mean, if you
We
want
don't
to.
have a microphone.
Yeah, we don't have a mic.
oh well.
You can just
stay
hang out there for a while.
He's left. He's leaving.
Okay. Man, train of thought just like now.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about wedding.
Wedding
Yeah,
food.
so people just remember the caterer, right?
Yeah.
So then there's that silly tradition where you have to save the wedding cake for the first year. Our completely got freezer burnt in the fridge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
eat that.
They don't actually work for Apple. Jeremy is works for Area 51.
Yeah.
No, Jeremy's a Air Force life support.
I
Air
pack
crew.
parachutes.
Yeah.
I don't know what his title is. It's fancy. He's like
I literally
a junior
pack
colonel or
parachutes.
something.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And Kara's a dental hygienist, and I am an advertiser.
Yep. All different aspects. We're all over
Wide
the place.
variety of stuff.
I joke about Area 51. He's in the Air Force, and they control Area 51.
See, I do like, Star Warsy stuff. I'd like to join the Space Force.
Here, so he says talk something. So explain something that's not classified, but is very military technical.
Oh, man. Well, starting off, we have acronyms for every single thing, right? So, like, PT means something different to other people, probably. Maybe parent-teacher conferences. To me, it means physical training. Okay? Drill weekends. We've got... you want to learn something about the military? We have TOs that tell us how to do our job. We're not allowed to just do our job. You could know it. You have to have the book tell you how to do it. So we have TOs, stands for technical order. It's very boring stuff.
I remember
very,
you
very boring
complaining
stuff.
about this when you were studying for your Master Sergeant's test. Do you remember this, Chris?
Yes.
In California,
Yeah.
there's a whole section on it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Talking about our trip out to California last year, is that Jeremy's studying for this test to get promoted. And it's I'm driving, and he's got the manual open, going through the stuff. He's like, "How come everything's an acronym?"
I mean,
It
some of
doesn't
the
make it-
acronyms are 8 letters long, and it's
and it doesn't make it easy to remember if it's
No.
40 acronyms.
it's TKMNOTL. It's
Yeah, and it's not trying to save paper, so nothing is printed out anymore. So you have to download the PDF onto an iPad or a tablet. So the rules are, and this is really boring. Sorry, everybody.
you asked for it.
You asked for it. You only have to tell what the acronym stands for the first time it makes an appearance. Even if it's 3 chapters ago, you only have to describe it once.
Yeah, this is a technical writing standard. This isn't a military standard.
So once the acronym's been announced and declared what it is, if you don't remember, you have to figure out where it referenced and go back a million pages. And it's not as easy as, a quick reference when you have
just flipping
paper
through your
in front
book,
of you.
yeah.
You got to do the swipe thing, and it's just super frustrating and just, ugh.
Well, like
Acronyms
with a paper book, you could even take those little tabs and like tab where each acronym shows up. That way you can be like, okay, let's go back and see where it is instead of.
Depending on your PDF reader, you can add like sticky notes and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
highlights and stuff. But
That's
who wants
true.
to do that?
Nobody does.
I always
Ashley
found
says
them
Jeremy's dad would be a great guest. So many stories, and Jeremy has gotten his storytelling skills from him.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Whoops.
My dad will corner you to tell you a story. Like, you can't leave. You can't eat dinner until you listen to my story. My dad used to be a big motorcycler, and he used to do like tricks on his motorcycle.
Well, I think it's something generational. 'Cause, like my dad's a big storyteller too.
Yeah.
So I think there's something about like like TV ruined our generation or something.
Right.
I feel like I did not come from a storytelling family. They read books to us, but they're not a storytelling family, and so that's why I think. I think that's why a lot of times I have a hard time telling a story about something, and I'm like, Jeremy, you just tell it.
Yeah.
I usually just take over, no problem.
He usually cuts me off. Once I start rambling, he cuts me off.
Ryan says, love to have some drinks with you and Keith in Minnesota.
Hey, if you're ever here,
We
send
have
us an
some
email.
amazing breweries
Yep.
up here.
We have a lot of, yeah, there you go. Woohoo, the email.
I'm getting my mileage out of this email.
You have to do that. But yeah, send
Chris
us an
made so
email.
many graphics for this.
Yeah, Keith's awesome. Keith, when the first time I met Keith, I walked in to visit you at work.
Yep.
And
I worked with Keith, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walked in, got to meet Nick, who got picked on for being the youngest. Like the ageist jokes there were the funniest thing to me because he's not even that young, but he was the youngest person in the office. And
Fresh out of college.
fresh out of college, he's
Just
the
a
new
lady.
guy, so he's fed to the wolves. Now he lives, out on the West Coast, and he left, which was really a bummer because he was really cool. But I got to meet everybody in the office, and Keith was just one of those people that the second you meet him, you can instantly get along with the guy. Super easy to know.
Incredibly smart. Can talk about anything forever.
And
But
has
he
such
specifically loves Batman.
yeah. He's like all of a sudden
he
our
balances
nerdoms.
us out.
Well, so
Yeah.
I'm the Simpsons. Like we're carving out like our big fandoms. It's like we have Star Wars, Lord of the Rings,
Lord of
Yeah,
the Rings.
et cetera,
right?
et cetera. over
Star
there.
Wars, and then
I'm actually rewatching The Simpsons again right now.
Are you?
I just have it on while I'm doing other stuff. I love The Simpsons.
So with Keith has such a passion for filmmaking, and that's
Yeah.
what's so funny is it was like he's such a good guest to have on the podcast.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Man, sitting next to him at work, sometimes we just don't get any work done because we'll just fall down holes for like an hour talking about like different films. He'll be like, "Hey, have you ever seen this like just amazing one shot from this movie?" And it's like, "Oh no, I haven't seen that, but it reminds me of this." And we're just like showing YouTube clips back and forth and like just like drilling down into stuff, and it's just super fun.
It is.
Ryan says, "Let me tell you one thing: you're great with graphics and exceptional host."
Oh, there you go.
thank
Those are
Thank
all
you.
Chris's, and so it's people. Oh, YouTube. The story of YouTube. We went to the Star Wars Celebration in Chicago in April of 2019. We were going to be out in Anaheim in just a little, like a
A little
month,
over a month.
little
Yeah.
over a
After
month,
waiting over a year.
and. So we went there, and it was like we walked around, and we like, hey, we've got 30,000 other people that love the same thing we do,
Right.
and there's not a lot of there's a lot of people who do Star Wars stuff, but not a lot of just plain old chit chat about it. I guess everybody's breaking down a theory or doing something crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's trying to come off as the smartest person about Star Wars.
Oh, I found out there's a Facebook group today, and it's called Star Wars Group for people who actually like Star Wars, because we're talking about.
I've seen that before. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, because there's the fandom is so.
Star Wars
Nobody
fandom
hates
is
Star Wars.
toxic.
Well, nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
It's true.
And so that group made me
Yeah.
laugh. But I just thought, it's like, let's do this. And Chris and I have a long history of making videos. If you go back and make it through, there's hours and hours of content for you to watch, but you'll learn all these different stories and things about us. But Chris and I have been making videos together for over 10 years. Kara and I love Star Wars.
15
and we're-
years at this point.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And so we thought, let's do it. Let's consistently make content and post it to YouTube. And it is way harder than anything I've done at my job. It's way harder than anything else I've done because you're giving up time. There's editing, and our job I think is a lot easier than Chris's. But
Yeah. Mine's way easy. I just sit here, show up, talk, and leave.
and so people want to see your progression on YouTube and how you advance and go through things. And it has been a crazy ride. I remember sitting there the very first time being nervous, being in front of the camera.
Oh, we
and
were so stiff.
trying to be
So stiff.
It's when you go back and watch the first stuff.
Hi, I'm Kara. You know?
Gwen has a couple things. So she said, "Can you edit the PDF with find replace and add the real thing next to the TLA?"
I probably could. Oh, find replace. Edit the document, make it my own. The genius. See? Now, that is
Wait, what?
collective thinking. If I just saved the document and did a find and replace all with all the acronyms with their actual...
Oh, we're going back to that. I was
Yeah.
like,
So yeah, sorry. There's because Gwen, she got another comment and it's like, I got to start clearing the log jam here. So Gwen said Fumbleina was the best.
Oh, man, Fumbleina,
If
which
you
will
like-
never make its appearance on YouTube.
No,
or
that was-
will it?
100,000 subs.
Yeah, 100,000 subs. That's low. That's low for the amount of cringe in that video.
It's not even worth that.
I remember you were so excited about learning how to use Flash to animate
I did, yeah.
title sequence for that. It was just like the word coming. Yep.
Yep.
Let's not even talk about
I
it.
did sound effects then, too.
Yep. There's a chicken or a turkey or something in
Yeah.
there. It's just so dumb. And then David says, "Still waiting for you guys to release some of those old bids."
Oh, yeah. Those are locked in a vault.
They're coming, David.
I'm going to delete Kara's computer.
Ryan really wants me to jump on camera, and it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Ryan.
So when we were in Disneyland, we had a character done where Jeremy looks like Han and I look like Leia, and the artist, we joked
Wait,
about
caricature.
Huh?
It's a caricature. Did you
That's
say
what I
that?
said.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And we joked about having Chris in the picture, and Chris was like, "Yeah, if I'm in a bush with the camera."
And she seriously, she was like about to put pen to paper
Yeah.
to draw a bush with like a camera poking out of it. Like, no,
So-
don't do it.
I joked, like, you know, I do my cosplay as Ahsoka. Jeremy has been.
I want to do Rex.
He wants to cosplay as Rex. And
Or
so
apparently Sheldon.
Chris needs a cosplay, and so I joked that we should just get a bunch of like viney, leafy stuff from like Hobby
Foliage, yeah.
Lobby foliage, and make Chris a costume that looks like a bush.
But if you do come have a beer with us, you can have a beer with Chris in person.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
absolutely.
you go.
I'm more than happy to let you guys see what I look like in person.
I will join and have a virgin margarita.
I will say, like, I was talking a friend of mine named Jim. I love like we play D&D and stuff together.
He made our Baby Yoda perler bead.
So he did, but both of us are bigger guys. And like, oh, we can go as hikers from Pokemon.
Yeah, the hiker guys.
yes!
And I was like, oh, because like we're both big guys with beards or whatever, so like, just put on the khaki
You look
shorts.
just
and
like
that.
him.
That'd be
Yeah, if
hilarious.
you want to know what I look like, just Google hiker Pokemon. That's what I look like.
The NPC.
More or less.
Yeah.
More or less, yeah.
And I'll just I'll just get like plushy Geodudes and just like hurl them at people.
That's
You need to do that when we
funny.
go to GalaxyCon.
You do. And
Not
then
that that's
you
still
think
happening.
Cosplay
Yeah.
to do.
It'd be super. Like it's just like, oh, I'll just go to the clothing store and now I walk out. It's like-
Do they have like a yellow hard hat?
He's
It's
got.
a
He's got
pith
one.
helmet.
A pith
yeah,
helmet.
I was gonna say it's a yeah.
My sister has a pith helmet. Actually, so shouting out my sister again. She just did a review of the most recent version of the Jumanji board game.
Oh.
And in that game, to determine who goes first, it's whoever either suggested the game or whoever's wearing a pith helmet. So my sister owns a pith helmet.
That's really funny.
You know what's funny? My parents own a pith helmet, so if we ever play with your sister, I will also bring my pith helmet.
Then it's pith helmet versus
it's
pith
on.
helmet.
It's
on.
Gwen said I can cosplay as Tangela.
So, okay, I want to talk about a quick post.
One real quick.
Okay.
Remember that though, so we don't. Ryan said you guys are underrated. You deserve more subs and better views.
Oh,
Chris,
thank
can
you
you
so much.
Chris, can you do something for the channel?
We
I'm
did
doing
advertise.
enough.
I was gonna say if we talk to anybody, we talk to Bill. For whatever reason, Bill works his magic with social media.
Yeah.
He's
It's
amazing.
unbelievable. Well, we haven't given up yet, Ryan. That's the
No.
important thing.
We've been
And
doing this for a year, and dang it, we're gonna keep going.
I don't know how you feel about Pokemon, but I just saw this awesome post on like Nerd Daily. They share a lot of our posts, which was really cool. So I like did a thing for thing, but they have really cool stuff. And somebody said the reason why I love Pokemon is that it doesn't matter the Pokemon, except it's got to be Biodoof. That's not in the post, but it doesn't matter the Pokemon. There is a Pokemon that's someone's favorite, and they
Yeah.
will like love it more than anything else. And that's so
Yeah.
cool because so they reference so like. My sister's niece loves Tangela, like is obsessed with him, has a whole team of Tangelas. Somebody else loves like Torchic. You love Diglett or
Yeah.
Doug Trio.
Doug Trio specifically.
You also like Butterfree, though, don't you?
Butterfree is like an actual like neither of them are really great usable wise, but like Butterfree was one of my favorite early ones because you can always get Caterpie, and Butterfree is just there's a wide variety of moves you can use. It just looks cool. It's like a giant butterfly.
I like
like-
Dragonite.
You can go.
Yeah.
Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is my boy. Oh, he's so cute.
Number one in the
OP.
Pokedex.
I
And,
love him. He's so cute.
So Rowlet is one of my new favorites.
Who?
Rowlet. He's
Oh,
the
the bird?
grass starter from.
Oh,
Sun and
Rowlet,
Moon.
that one. Yeah.
He becomes a ghost grass type. I ended up actually, through no fault of my own, with an entirely ghost-typed team in that game.
You just had all ghosts?
Yeah, because I wanted a Alolan Marowak, which is Ghost Fire. I wanted Mimikyu, which is like Ghost Psych or Ghost Fairy, and then I had Rowlet, which is Ghost Flying. And what else did I have? I think I can't remember the other ones. Everything that I had on my team was Ghost, though. So like, if I ran into anybody with Psychic, I would just get wiped.
Yeah, anybody with Psychic should be the Ghostbusters. So Matt would play with that ghost team.
Oh,
It would be funny to do a crossover, like, drawing of psychic
Ghostbusters.
Pokemon dressed up as in Ghostbusters.
Oh, that'd be
outfits.
awesome. That sounds like that's Kara. That's your job.
Yeah, remember, see.
Ashley says Oddish is her favorite.
See?
Gwen
Oh.
says Vaporeon and Togekiss.
Oh, yeah. Vaporeon.
I
Is it an
also like.
OG Pokemon and Pokemon Go still?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I like Cyndaquil as well.
Cyndaquil's good.
He's so cute.
He's like a little fiery hedgehog.
I like the cute little guys.
Totodile. Kara's
Totodile is adorable too. I do not like Chikorita. She can take a long walk off a short bridge.
so much Chikorita hate. But yeah, that post just was really, really awesome. And then there was a Pokemon Go commercial, I think it was, about when they added the buddy adventure or whatever, and as a little kid with Squirtle. Bill posted it on the Facebook page. And it just shows him like carrying Squirtle with him through his real life and just that comfort and everything.
Jeremy's buddy was Whalmer for the long time.
Oh, I got my Wailord, Chris,
He finally got a
finally.
Wailord.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Yes.
He's a hog.
Who am I'm walking around with Chandelure right now.
You've been walking around with Chandelure for a while.
I need to power him up. He's apparently the best fire type attacker in the game
Really?
currently. So I just
I'm
I just need
sorry.
a good fire type attacker.
But how is a Chandelier? The most powerful fire Pokemon in the entire dang game.
Pokemon Go has a weird.
the balance in that game is just
It's weird.
wrong.
like Charizard. He should be one of the strongest ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all the starters seem pretty underwhelming. To be
They do.
completely honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like as they've gotten the newer gens, the original ones are just kind of like taking a back seat.
Well, yeah. So like in the actual like main series and stuff, like their power balance is fine.
Right.
Yep.
You know, like I get a little bit salty about like when you actually start talking about like point totals and stuff like that. Like you can just dive with. I know more about Pokemon than I probably should, but
We grew
It's
up
like-
with it in the 90s. Come on now.
but like when you look at like your stat pools and stuff, and it's like, oh, this only has 504 total stat points, and it's like you need to get a pseudo legendary, so it was like 590 or whatever.
Right.
It bugs me. Like I wish that there was less disparity in power, because there's like it just makes some things unplayable. Like if you want to have Beedrill on your team, he has like his stat pool is like 405.
Yeah.
Like he could just even if he has like a really strong like speed or special stat or whatever, there's just not enough points there to make it viable.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like you can beat the game with it fine. Like so that was the thing that I like. It's like you can power level and just sweep with whatever you want. But
The only time was Pokemon, the one where they went to the last one you played.
Sun and
was-
Moon.
Sun and Moon was the first one I tried to breed a move with egg moves, and I built an Electabuzz.
I remember this guy.
Yeah, he had Thunder Punch. He had Fire, Ice, and Earthquake. Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Fire Punch, and Earthquake. Super balanced.
So much
Oh,
coverage.
So much coverage. It was
Seriously.
awesome to throw him out there, and he just. There's a reason why I love Dragonite. This is getting really weird. Pokemon. I don't know if people like Pokemon who are watching right now, but I love Dragonite's sound, and I love Electabuzz in the show in the TV show, because his sound is just. His Electabuzz.
Which is nothing like his actual call.
No, but it's so funny in the TV show that's what it is. And then Dragonite's in the TV show. The Dragon. I love the sounds.
David wants to know when Bill's gonna make another guest appearance. We've been asking him, and he keeps on being like, no.
The first appearance was planned. The second Bill appearance was completely unplanned.
Yeah.
And because I think we were just like threw him under the bus for the second one.
You're like, nope, you're on, Bill. You are on.
Bill is on. Chris is reading questions. Right?
Yeah. I see that. That's
so Ryan says it's hilarious that Jeremy is all into U.S. defense, and once he confronts with some random convict, all he has to say is Pika Pika Pikachu.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So Jeremy isn't the person that would be on the front lines.
No.
No, that's as I pack parachutes. So if somebody comes to me, I'm gonna hide like a hiding Pokemon.
So
Jigglypuff, I'll sing.
Jigglypuff.
Right? No, that's not going to
Like,
put any.
you-
It'll make them run, but it's not going to put anybody to sleep.
Ugh.
No, it's so fun. It's,
No. When he deploys, I do feel okay because I know he's going to be safe.
it's such. I've been in the military for a long time, and it's such a funny thing because for the type of person I am, it does not match up. It
No.
is.
Yeah, like you usually think like hyper masculine.
Yeah.
Like got to be like
Right.
the guy with the lifted truck and like barbed wire tattoo and all that.
Yeah, and it is the furthest thing from that, and it's just so funny because it's like I constantly challenge myself to be creative and like be able to. I'm learning Blender for 3D modeling, and I wish I could draw, but photography and cameras are the closest thing that I can produce art or something creative with, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
So-
you and I both have more of a technical aptitude, and it's a lot easier to be like, you can master some settings and understand
Yeah.
a situation and dial it in and be able to produce an image. Just getting like this meat claw to like make a curve that doesn't look like a
Oh
butt.
man, it's so hard. Kara's really good at drawing.
Oh, actually, so Gwen wanted me to bring. What's the tablet that you just got?
Artisol.
So my
Yeah,
sister
Artisol.
got one. Which one? Was it like the
Is
D16?
the
or-
something? Yeah, the something 16 Pro.
Okay, so I think my sister has the exact same one.
Oh yeah.
And so Gwen, comment what your thing is she's watching right now. So she was trying to get it set up today, and she was having a problem where she could get both displays to show up, but the pen was only on her regular desktop display, not on the tablet. Did you have a problem with that?
One of them has to be a duplicate.
Oh, so you just have to mirror the screen.
Yes.
More
Okay,
or
so
less.
that's what we ended up doing, but I was
And then
like,
did she go on and did she download the software and everything?
yeah.
Okay.
So because like we were trying to figure out, so because she's only got one monitor,
Right.
So if she had a second monitor, so she could just mirror the one and it would all work on there, and then she could have a second monitor then, or
Yep. Or that third monitor. If you're using Photoshop, for example,
Yeah.
you could if you have it as a third display or a second display, what you can do, you have to just you drag it over there, and there's a setting for it. Well, you can remote in or something and do it. So
I always
like, I
just
was
hook up to
messing
my
around with it.
laptop, so I don't ever really have a problem.
Kara just does a duplicate display.
Okay, yeah, because like when we did that, it worked fine.
Yeah.
But it's like if you want to pull up reference or something, it'd
Yeah.
be nice to be able to use them as two separate screens.
Yep. But yeah, you know how when
But
you
this
do
is a really very specific problem. I'm sorry that we're wasting podcast.
Kara
time
can
on this.
draw, and does Gwen like the idea of it? Is she like?
She absolutely loves it so far.
Yeah.
She sent me a picture of it. She drew a big wiener and said it works.
Oh my god.
That reminds when the iPhone first was able to send picture messages. Everybody said that, but it's fun, and the reason we really wanted to get a Surface Studio
Still would.
computer that you can draw directly on.
Yeah.
But the price that you can build your own computer for and get that tablet still comes in at half the cost. Twice as good of specs, half the cost. And I feel like Sheldon trying to decide between the PS4 and the Xbox One episode. Oh, but this one's got the Blu-ray drive, and oh, this one's got this, and Amy's like drags him out of the store. But no, so that was the thing. It was like we wanted to get the Surface Studio, and it was just it was a lot of money for what you get. And to upgrade the RAM, $700 to buy the same RAM stick on your own is $150.
I think Todd McFarlane uses the studio. He's the
Family Guy.
artist. No, he's the artist for
Seth MacFarlane.
Spawn and Spider-Man. The comics.
Kara dropping some sick.
I follow him on
comic knowledge over
Facebook. Okay, so if you guys just want a fun drawing tutorial to watch, follow Todd McFarlane. He's the best. He shows you how to draw a really cute pork. He's like, you just do a circle here and you draw these little wings, and then if you want to shade, you just do a little bit of like little hashing and stuff, and he's just really just super easy, super cute.
That's
super good.
how all drawing tutorials start. Oh, here's a circle. Here's the rest of the thing. And it's like they just go and they take a
It's a
circle.
SpongeBob episode where he starts with the finished masterpiece,
Yes.
then erases it back down to a circle. That's how every drawing tutorial is to me.
No, he's actually really good, and he does break it down into just the most simple of shapes.
It's simple
not
for you is what we're getting at.
Yeah.
It's like
It's just basic rocket science.
I was doing a tutorial on how to draw, and it's like just pick an object and don't focus about drawing the object. Focus on drawing the lines that the object has or something
Right.
like that. And I tried to draw a Post-it note.
That's just a square. Right?
I couldn't do it. No, because I wasn't draw like when I tried to draw the lines, nothing matched up. in spatial awareness, whatever. But when I just drew a cube with parallel lines and then like made the edge of the Post-it note flip up and drew the shadowing, it somewhat looked like a Post-it note.
It looked
but
good.
No, it didn't.
So I like to view just everything as, again, basic shapes when you draw. So like I don't remember where I read this. I did not look it up on purpose. But they said if you want to forge a signature, flip it upside down and see it as a
really?
shape.
Yep,
Not
I've
as a
actually-
letter, as a shape.
I've
are you
heard the
doing?
exact same thing.
What kind of... No, Kara's forging over there. She's a
Maybe
forger.
Chris and I are in business together.
Yeah,
and you don't
Where's my
know.
checkbook?
You wonder why you still have to go to work. Huh?
Yeah,
I have a
exactly.
debit card linked to the account.
So Ryan, a few moments ago said, "Would you mind if I can be a help with this channel with content? I'm not sure, but it will help you fill the void and reach masses." We'll definitely have to. We'll have to talk.
Yeah.
Send us an email.
Email us, message us on Facebook, whatever.
Chris is going to use this thing. We will reach out to you, and we will figure out the logistics.
Well, I mean, he should email us first so we actually have...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We'll reach out to you.
He'll email us and then we'll...
Yeah. Yep. Chris played.
When's in the checkbooks on the sock drawer?
Yeah, right.
That's where Jeremy keeps all his important documentation.
Anyway, I just always like so I back to drawing. I went to fashion design school for a while, and like the first 3 semesters, my only 3 semesters, were all about drawing. And when they had you draw, they had you look at what you were drawing, not even look at your paper, and you would just sit there and you would draw exactly what you see and try to feel it out. And some of the drawings actually turned out not too bad. Some of them were really, really horrible. But it was all about
Here's a question.
focusing on what you're drawing, like focusing on your subject.
Everybody wants to
You
know
know.
what's the most risque drawing you drew. Look
Oh
at that.
no! Punch
Let's just
in.
say I saw a few naked bodies.
Oh my god!
That's a real thing. That's not a joke.
There were people. There were.
In class,
Yeah.
somebody volunteered to be
I
naked.
saw multiple.
It probably wasn't
over
a classmate,
dozen.
Jeremy. It's probably some guy who's
No,
like
it
a
was-
model.
There were dudes. There were chicks. Full bore naked. I had to draw everything. Everything.
Oh god!
In the name of art, though, right?
In the name of
the
art.
name of art.
It was awkward because I was living at home at the time, and so my family was all there.
Oh, Kara,
with
let's see what your sketchbook is.
Put it on the fridge.
Yeah.
Oh, look what I drew for you.
Unrelated. So Ryan said, "Sorry, Jeremy, you don't look like Sheldon. You look like a bald version of John Oliver."
You're my bald John Oliver, baby.
Man, I love John Oliver. And he says, "Don't fight."
Oh, there we go.
Oh gosh.
That is funny though. I just remember at one point Kara mentioned, but to put her on blast in front of everybody here that. So did you have to do that too? You only had to look. You couldn't look at your paper even.
You could not.
That
look
seems
at-
like torture.
It was like one constant line that you had to draw, and you're just sitting there staring at your paper, and drawing the body, and doing your thing. And drawing the little.
Now I know how
bee,
Picasso drew the.
right?
He just looked without looking. He's
Okay,
like, this
so
is art.
I was reading something about Picasso, or were you telling me about it? Or was I? Oh no, I think it was the dude that the Blender guy, Blender Guru.
Oh, he's awesome.
The video
Oh,
that
man.
he was talking about, he said that like 80% of Picasso's works you don't actually know are Picasso's because it's not what you.
Oh no, I saw that. I think it was like a post. It was like because he has like like 20,000 sketches and like 1,800 sculptures and like 400 whatever.
Wasn't that Blender Guru?
It
who
was-
talked
it was
about
in his
thing-
video.
In his
Oh,
video.
was in this video? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but we all-
randomly that we all saw that same video.
Well, I sent it to you.
Okay.
But
I sent
mean,
it
we
as
all know
encouragement to
him.
everyone.
We all know Picasso to paint these abstract, crazy pictures. But yeah, he's done sculptures and sketches and all sorts of different things.
That comes into play in the whole 80-20, spending too much time trying to perfect something.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I live in that 20, dude.
Yeah, and so it's like you get this done, and then you spend all this extra time trying to like perfect it, and you spend so much time doing that.
I think that's why I stopped on my Ahsoka painting.
Really? You're trying to
Because
perfect it?
Yeah, keep trying to perfect it, and it's like
Is that the one you were gonna make for me a long time ago?
maybe the one
Yeah.
like that was my very first drawing on my iPad.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
And I stopped because I was getting to like her crown, and I just couldn't get the shading right up in here. And so it kept bugging me, and I kept on like painting and putting another layer over, and then trying to paint it some more, putting another layer, and like I could never quite get it
That
Right.
reminds me of the.
Have you seen Malcolm in the Middle?
I have.
Are you familiar with Malcolm in the Middle?
I am familiar. I may have seen 1 or 2 episodes.
There's an episode where Hal starts like painting, and he's like painting in the garage, and he ends up putting so much paint on the canvas. Like eventually, like by the time he's done, everyone's like, "Wow, it's a masterpiece!" And then all the paint falls off because it's like a foot thick from how much paint he just kept on putting on. And I think that's what I'm imagining happening. It's like he's had this one like a shadow sticking out off the canvas.
Well,
oh my gosh.
What it was reminded of me was when you watch that, what is it, the Hydroflex guy, you know, with the gutter, and he's got a hole and he like slaps the thing on there. When Kara kept saying she was adding layers, it's like, oh, just slap some seal
Flex
tape
seal?
on there. Flex seal guy.
tape.
Yeah, Flex seal. No, it's like, just flex some Flex seal on there. Kara's add another layer, smash, boom.
Let's see here. Ryan says, I know I'm a jerk. I don't think you're a jerk, but I would love to go to those classes. I'm sort of a perfect version of Howard Wolowitz.
Oh,
Are you
yes.
saying you want to go as a model or go as somebody who's doing the drawing?
No, he would be the one who, like, Howard's always
Yeah.
into the ladies.
So, but I don't know. I'm just, yep. And then Gwen said, Kara, that's you.
That's me. Hey.
Have you tried marble carving or had any interest? I'm looking at a few learning kit things if you're down.
I have not tried marble carving. It would be interesting.
So it's like drawing, but in 3D.
And in reverse.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I suppose, because you got to have a block and you take away from the
Yeah.
block.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
The statue was in there the whole time. I merely released it.
Oh, yeah. There's a really good
What would you
episode.
guys do if I was able to carve this perfect carving that ended up selling for millions of dollars?
I'll be like, hey, now we have enough money to...
Yeah, right. To do advertisements.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, Ryan, funny story for you. You're talking about, so Chris is in advertising, and why doesn't he advertise this better? As a joke, I brought up we should put up a billboard in Tokyo, just to see what happens. Is like, Jeremy and Kara, Rise of the Podcast, up in Tokyo.
Airport.
And since then, at the airport in Tokyo, Chris is convinced that that's what we need to do. So we haven't done any advertising
Because of COVID.
It's push comes to shove, though, about putting up a Tokyo billboard. Where does one even start?
What was it, like $300 a month or something like that?
No, it was way more than that.
It's
Was
very,
it?
it's very reasonable.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't that bad.
The translation of the webpage, because like anything, like, not that people want to know a history of billboards, but billboards are owned by people, and they're usually advertising groups or people like private holding places or whatever. And so it's like, if you don't have access to a 1-800 number, you have to like Google who owns the billboards in the Tokyo airport or whatever. And then you get this whole thing that's like layouts where it's like, here's a billboard here and here, and this will cost about whatever. But it's all in Japanese because it's in Tokyo.
Right.
Right.
So then you have to be like, Google Translate this, and it's just not good. You know, so, but it's like, and then... but it's not outrageous, to be completely honest, for like the amount of people that would see it.
Right.
I think that the reason I want them to do it is I want them to buy the billboard, then I want them to fly to Tokyo
And get a picture with it.
and take a picture with their billboard, because like if nothing else, for the rest of your life you can tell people a story about how you flew to Tokyo to look at your billboard.
Well, I mean, I feel like an airport is like one of the best places you could have a billboard. Because think about how many people, if you have it like...
Board
in
on
the-
your flight, download an episode of Rise of the Podcast.
Right. Like,
No,
if-
exactly. It's people that are traveling need podcasts. Not to interrupt you.
I was going to say, guys, we talked about this in the last podcast. But no, like, yeah, when you're in the boarding area, if there's a big old billboard that's like, Rise of the Podcast, check us out here, here, and here. And people go to Rise of the Podcast, they're going to burn like... I have had 8-hour layovers by myself in an airport.
So they can watch
You know?
1/8 of all of our content.
Right?
For 1/10, not even that. It would take a long time.
I was like, if they're lucky, we might be live when they're
Yeah, right.
then
Exactly.
they can participate.
They can participate in the chat.
Ryan said reasonable. It was less than $1,000 a month for a billboard.
Oh, there you go.
So like if you're gonna spend $1,000 on something, like, so I work in
Might as
I work
well
in
be
broadcast
a billboard.
advertising. So like buying like a TV contract, like your minimum buy is like $500, and then you're just locked into whoever's watching that channel at that time, right? So like, wouldn't you be better off in having this thing that is static, that literally everybody that's going through this airport is
Right.
going to see?
Right.
You know, so that's my thought.
My luck, hey, I would have gotten the billboard, though, and then COVID happened and no one's flying.
Seriously.
Said, are you guys Donald Trump kids?
Yeah,
Is
right.
that reasonable?
No.
Compared
like-
to certain things.
Yeah, like if you're looking at like what advertising actually costs, it's not the most outrageous.
I was gonna say, I'm
Yeah.
only a dental hygienist and he's in the military. No, we are not.
Oh my goodness.
All right, any other questions that we want to answer before the end? Because I,
Oh.
being the person, gets to be the...
I was going to say, there's one thing that I meant to bring up. So I asked Chris earlier if he'd seen Chernobyl, which he said he hasn't.
That's correct.
Did you see what Russia is coming out with?
Chernobyl 2 Electric Boogaloo?
They're coming out with a movie, Chernobyl Abyss.
Okay.
So I watched the trailer for it. It looks interesting. There was no dialogue in it. All it was music and then scenes from the film. But from what I've heard, it's Russia's response to HBO. What, HBO?
Really,
HBO's Chernobyl.
Interesting.
So you know the scene where the guys have to go in the water to.
Yes.
So they make it look like they have to go diving with scuba gear on into the water to turn the valves.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't. They had to just wade through it. So.
Well, I mean, according to the United States version.
Right.
Who knows? Were you there? The Russian
Yes.
version
Obviously.
the Russian version could be true.
It only happened a few months before I was
See,
born, I think.
you know what they say is when you have to get defensive about something, it's because you're lying, or you're trying to hide the truth. You take offense to it because it's what. So, Russia is upset with the
definitely.
the way that Chernobyl was portrayed. And then, and there is some things they did for the sake of, so they have like one woman scientist who in the show represents about 20 or 30 real life scientists. And they plainly say that in the show. But there's a lot of, liberties you have when you are a content creator. And Chernobyl, they had, used their poetic license to ham the story up.
Anyway, I read the story was about a brave firefighter.
I would absolutely watch the movie.
Oh, no, I totally will too.
Even if it's all in Russian?
Sure. Subtitles.
We
I
watched
Parasite.
I was going to say,
Well, that's fair.
we did watch Parasite. It was, so we don't, was Parasite Chinese?
Korean.
Korean, sorry, Korean. I knew it was Korean. We don't speak Korean, obviously. And Jeremy was like, at one point he was like, I can't even tell if this is good acting because I don't know how lines are delivered in Korean.
Well, like you can read the words,
right?
But they could be good or bad actors, and you don't know, like watching it in subtitles.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because you have the inflection and the everything that you have to do it, and so it's like, well.
And different inflections in different countries mean different things. Like
it reminds
you
me
can
of
inflect a word
Tommy Boy
2 different ways, and it can mean 2 different things.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like I remember like in like middle school or whatever. I don't know why I thought this was so funny. I still think it's kind of funny, but like. You can take anything and like if you just say it a certain way, it makes it sound like like sexualized, right?
Right.
So it's like, oh, the living room couch or whatever,
Right.
It's like, oh, the crack in the sidewalk,
You
stuff
kinda
like
gotta-
that.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's just a way that you say something, and it doesn't matter what you say. It's like, the Pope's hat,
I was gonna say, like, have you watched Rise of the Podcast?
Oh my gosh.
So funny. Any other?
That was all
Ryan wanted to know if you thought the Parasite was overrated.
Yes. 100%.
Okay. Oh, Chris was gonna go to Kara's angle, and he jumped to mine. He's gonna jump.
I haven't jumped to either one. Who's gonna say the thing first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I said my piece already.
All right. Was it? I got finished watching it, and I missed points. I had to read about the ending to make more sense, and of course, me being as thick as I am, completely missed some of the points. After reading about the points, the movie's a lot better than what my first viewing would have led to. Specifically, at the end, I don't want to spoil it for people.
It is still a new movie.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I'll
you
say.
Specifically at the end, there's stuff.
So, there's a scene where the kid wants to use a lot of money to help his dad. I took that at face value that was going to be something that was going to happen. The person who wrote the movie put that scene in there and said, we all know that kid will never make that much money. And that went over my head. I was like, oh, because the American dream is that you can pick yourself up by the bootstraps and anybody can become wealthy, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And it's the same over in Korea, is that people think they can make a lot of money and they can't. So in Parasite, when they show that scene, it was like, no, that kid is never going to make that much money to save his dad. And that didn't really spoil anything.
For me, it was just the
first hour and a half is really long.
Yeah,
you're watching a lot of movie for the payoff.
The movie is 2 hours long, and you watch an hour and a half of slow, drawn out build-up, and then finally you get to the last quarter of the movie, like crazy,
stuff,
thrown in your face action. It's like, what? So for me, I did not enjoy it. I'm sorry. It did not deserve Best Movie of the Year. Ryan, if you liked it, I'm sorry.
I thought it had a lot of good messages that I needed
But
to
you
be...
had to go and read about them.
But it was apparent when I read about them how obvious they were.
I'm not gonna lie. A lot of stuff that I watch, I will look at like other people's like interpretations and stuff to see whether or not I'm actually, and not that I would just like agree with what other people say, but like if what the conclusions I came to are the same conclusions other people came to.
Yeah. No,
Ryan said the movie is so slow.
It is slow, exactly.
So
And, like-
slow.
But then the fact that like they call it humorous, I got zero humor in the
there's funny
entire
moments.
movie.
There's probably a lot of like
No.
Korean wordplay that you just didn't pick up.
That's what we were talking
Right,
about with
that
the
could
subtitles.
be.
It was
I
lost in
just-
translation.
I didn't laugh. At one point, I was like, Jeremy, how long have we been watching this? And it was like an hour and 15 minutes, and I felt like I'd been there for 2 hours already. I was like,
I can't believe somebody asked about it. We brought it up, though, I suppose.
yeah.
But, all right,
So
Chris.
Ryan, I agree.
Yep.
Well,
All right,
pulling
well-
the plug.
We're pulling the plug on this. Man, we've been going for an hour and a half.
That's why I said pull the plug.
Ryan,
Yeah.
email us.
Yeah, Ryan said there was no humor. So, Ryan, thank you for participating so much. We really do appreciate it. Gwen, thank you. Thank you, everybody who's been watching. It's like if you've gotten to this point in the video, we're wrapping it up. I think we've earned a like. If you're on YouTube or even Facebook, they both do likes.
Yep.
Go ahead and like this video. If you're watching on YouTube, I think that like subscribe, ring the notification bell. If you haven't already, you'll be notified every time we upload a video or whenever we go live. We're going live now. Welcome to us being live.
Episode 2.
Comment down below anything you want to see us talk about in the future. I know that the comment section is going to be full of like live stuff or whatever, but comment down below anything you want to hear us talk about as we move forward. Thank you for saying we're great, Ryan, and thank you guys so much for watching, and of course,
May the force be with you.